Hello, hello! Welcome to the first episode of Fundie Tuesday, Fundamental Tuesday. Fundie Tuesday sounds better. I'm your host, Shades. It is 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here in the good old U.S. West Coast. And we are going to go ahead and get started with our first episode, again, of Fundamental Tuesdays, where we're basically going to be going over the basics and fundamentals of Dota 2. And then because this is our very first episode, we're going to be testing out a lot of different things and starting with the basic, most fundamental part of Dota 2, learning what the heck Dota 2 is, basically getting an introduction to Defense of the Ancients, which is what Dota stands for, Dota 2. So, welcome, join along. As we'll be going through these weeks, we'll be going into much more practical topics and everything in regards. My phone is blowing up all over the place. We'll be going over more actual gameplay type things and everything for this and every week hereafter to improve your skills so we can play better Dota 2 and have fun while doing it. So, introduction time. Let's go ahead. Got some notes here. So first off, I'm just going to treat this, obviously, somewhere to start. Let's just start like someone has no idea what Dota 2 is. So what is Dota 2? Well, let me tell you. So Dota 2, basically Dota stands for is Defense of the Ancients. And as the name implies, you are basically want to make sure your Ancient doesn't die. And the basic gameplay would be to destroy the other team's Ancient. So two teams, we'll go like that. It's a little bit of a different game than what most people are used to coming in, especially if you're coming in from like a FPS type game or an RPG game or an MMORPG game or RTS game or whatever gameplay you like to play. So kind of call it, best way I like to describe this type of game is an action RPG. You are playing a hero type character and you level up, you get skills, you improve your skills, you get items, and you're just playing a hero. There's no real, I don't know, when I think of role playing, I think of enveloping yourself in one role. I guess you can do that in Dota 2, but yeah, you're just playing a hero, trying to kill other heroes, save your team, and kill the Ancient. So, other names for Dota 2 is a MOBA. It's a MOBA game. I really don't like that acronym. MOBA stands for Multiplayer Online Battle Arena. Your guess is as good as mine as to what that really means. So you're in an online battle arena, action RPG. We'll go with that. So a little history. Dota 2, obviously, with 2, is a successor to Dota 1, which was a Warcraft 3 custom map mod for Warcraft 3, developed by big man Ice Frog, who is now hired by Valve to be doing Dota 2. So awesome. Valve continuing on with its great legacy of hiring great modders who have already had like success in a game, putting them onto their team and having even more success, like Counter-Strike and Day of Defeat and plenty of other titles. So let's go ahead, and Team Fortress Classic, my favorite. Also, Dota was another, that was the most popular action RPG, I guess, to really first hit it. I know there's others out there, League of Legends, Heroes of New Earth, that came later and all that stuff. But the first one, actually, Dota was based off of the first one, Aeon of Strife, coming from good old StarCraft. So, brief little history there. Maybe you like it. Anyways, so yeah, play on a team, 5 people per team game, so make sure you play your team player, and we'll get into that later. So the first thing to get started here with going over Dota, I like to say, is that Dota has for new players coming in, it can have it does have a steep learning curve, especially if you've never played any type of game like this before, or even if you have, I guess you could learn it better. But like, the main, I guess, issue with new players coming in, I've had a lot of friends who I've tried to help teach and everything like that, is just the vast complexity of one is you're taking in a whole new type of game style. But even beyond that, like there's there's over 90 characters, 90 heroes that you could potentially play, and trying to, the advantages of someone who's played this game for a long time is they know what every hero can do. Like, they know what their skills can do, they know what type of hero, what type of playstyle is usually played with them. I mean, you can play the heroes in all type of range playstyle. We'll get into that later with each hero. But they kind of fit into like a usual niche and groove and everything like that. And so knowing their spells, knowing what those heroes can do, gives you a huge advantage, and that is the steepest learning curve, because if you're just coming in, you have no idea what any hero does, or let alone what they look like, what they're called, and trying to really bridge that gap can be very cumbersome and intimidating, especially if you're playing in the public scene and you get a bunch of not so nice people calling you flamers, or being flamers and calling you noob and all that stuff, and hurts the soul and makes you not want to play. So that's why I'm here. Try to break you in as easy as you can. We'll be getting into the hero section later. Valve has included a nice little thing to hopefully get over that hump of learning all the characters in a easier, funner manner. So first thing though, let's go over kind of the arena type of what you would be playing in, and that is the Dota 2 map. So if we go over into, oh my goodness, okay. So if we go over into here, oh my goodness, okay, I need to turn that off. If we go into here, so this is El Dota 2 Mapo. Actually, I already have it something here, so we'll go ahead and just the basic map. Don't worry about these little circle colors for now. Those will come in to play later. So this is your basic map of Dota 2. Obviously, top-down section. Let's go ahead and say this section right all around here. This is the radiant side. So you can see it's basically, we'll cut it diagonally along, like from this corner down this river and down to this corner. It's not exact, whatever. So this corner right here, this is what's going to separate it into two parts or whatever. And you can see basically the reason why that was designed that way is it gives it the biggest length to actually play on the field. So keep messing me up there. So radiant side right here, and then dire side right here. Okay, so don't worry about radiant dire. All radiant dire really is that there's two sides, and instead of being like team A and team B, because who wants to play a game where you're just team A versus team B, it's radiant versus dire. I mean, it goes back to Warcraft 3 lore and all that stuff when it was originally named and everything like that, but just think of it as a name. So you have your radiant team, which will start on this side, and then you have your dire team, which will start basically in this corner. So you'll start in the corners, and then you'll go through here. So first things first, let's go over the most important concept of the Dota 2 map, which is the towers and the ancients. So this little overlay right here, just click it on again, so you just get an idea. So basically the purple, again, is showing the dire side, orange showing the radiant side. Okay, so from this greatly color coordinated thing is, okay, purple and orange, I know, not the best colors, but I mean, if you look, let's see, look at this map, like, it came with these stupid little colors things, which we'll go into later. Actually, probably won't even talk about them much, but like I couldn't map, like dire's red, but this red thing gets stopped with you, and radiant's supposed to be blue, right? And you got this blue thing messing with you, whatever. Purple and orange, that's good enough for me. So defense of the ancients, right? So we're supposed to be killing these ancients. Well, what are these ancients? So when you first spawn on dire radiant side, you'll spawn in your fountain, which is this little area right here, and this little area right here. Just outside your fountain is the ancient. Okay, so this is the dire ancient, which is just outlined in the purple. It's this big behemoth thing. You'll see it when we go in game. Radiant side over here. So it's pretty much as close as you can to being a mirror image on the map of both sides. There are some things that are not mirror image. We'll go into that, but for the most part, think of it as a mirror image. So going back to this map, we can see, so ancients. Now the circles, big circles right here, are the towers. Okay, so towers are important. Shoot, I can go into a long detailed explanation about towers because we don't have, this is the first episode and I don't want, I'm going to be throwing a lot of details at you guys, Try to absorb as much as you can, whatever. But towers, won't go into too much details. Basically, think of them as big, tall structures, almost like lighthouses or whatever. And you know, your team has some, and their team has some. And if you run in proximity of close vicinity of the opposing team's towers, well, guess what? You're gonna get hit. It's gonna shoot these little. Dire will shoot like fireballs. Radiant will shoot bursts of love beams or whatever, which will hurt you on Dire because you don't like love. But you'll basically be hit as long as you're in that vicinity of the tower for damage. Obviously, when you're low level, it's going to hit you for a lot harder damage. So you want to be careful and watch out for those towers. They are defensive structures. You will be taking them down. They do have life, and you can be taking them down. You will be wanting to take them down because, as you can see, you have these 3 towers in the front for both Radiant and Dire. These are the tier 1 towers, okay? So you can damage those and you can kill those. Now, something to note is you can't kill the tower. So like this will be the tier 2 towers sections, and then these last 3 will be the tier 3 tower sections. Just like on the Radiant side, tier 2 towers, tier 3 towers. You cannot kill you cannot kill the tier 2 towers. I can't do alliterations. You can't kill the tier 2 towers until the tier 1 towers are dead and gone. Okay, so that means it's protection, so that if you're coming in here and you're running through the jungle and you get down into here and you want to attack this tower, but this tower's still up, you're not going to be able to do any damage to that tower. And if you stick around that tower, you're just going to be taking hits and you're eventually going to die. So kill the tier 1 towers first. Just think of it as tier 1, kill those, opens up tier 2s, opens up tier 3s, and then you can go to the ancients and everything like that. So there is a pecking order of what you can and cannot kill at first. Now, with that being said, a little more information. If you kill this tier 1 tower, you don't have to kill all tier 1 towers to kill the tier 2 towers. As soon as you kill a tier 1 tower in a lane, and we'll get to lanes next, as soon as you kill one tier 1 tower, the tier 2 tower behind it opens up to be killed, okay? Now, what are these little box thingies that we look down in here? So highlighting, going in, let's go back up to here. Zooming into the Radiant side section, so this is the Radiant side base. These are the tier 3 towers. What are these little boxes right here, you might ask, okay? These are called Raxes, short for barracks, okay? They just hear them called Raxes. These Raxes, whoa, too muchy. Okay, these Raxes, again, you will not be able to hit these until the tier 3 towers are down. Okay, so once the tier 3 towers come down, these open up for availability to be killed. What you want to know about these is when you kill Raxes, there's a melee Rax and a ranged Rax, and I'll get into the difference going afterwards. When you kill those down, basically it opens up the ability to get improved. And you're like, what are creeps? I will go into creeps when we go into the laning phase coming up shortly, okay? But just so you know for now, because there is so much information being connected together, towers, tier 1 tower, kill that, opens up tier 2 tower, kill that, opens up tier 3 tower, kill that, opens up Raxes, kill the Raxes, and there you go. Something I forgot to identify because I was totally in a rush and did not do it. There are one more set of towers, which are just right in front of the ancients. I'll just go ahead and highlight these right here. Actually, we could go ahead, we're going to do it in neon pink because neon pink is awesome. Let me go ahead and get me a layer here. So we'll go ahead and circle this tower and this tower. We'll go ahead and blow this map back up and open. So these 2 towers right here protect the ancient, okay? So once you kill all the tier 3 towers, these towers unlock, let's call them the tier 4 towers, and you have to kill those 2 towers to be able to attack the ancients. Same thing on the Dire side. Boop. I'll put it right here and right here. Those are the tier 4 towers that once you break through these tier 3 towers and the Raxes, you can go ahead and get into these, burning down those final tier 4 towers. Then it unlocks the ability to kill the ancient, which is the ultimate goal of Dota 2. Kill down the ancient, boom, your team wins, okay? So now I might ask, okay, well, so that's the main part of the game. Well, what about, you know, killing heroes and killing creeps, which we'll get into, and all that other stuff? Like, what's the point of that if, you know, we're just trying to kill down ancients? Well, obviously you want to, if you kill heroes, you're going to be getting increased rewards, you're going to be getting increased experience, you're going to get increased money for killing heroes. Also, when your hero dies, it goes on a cooldown before it's res, which gives you time to push towers. Because, you know, if you're pushing straight into the base and you're trying to kill the Ancient, well, the other team doesn't want their Ancient to die, so they're going to try and stop you, and that's where team battles are formed. They're also going to be wanting to protect their towers, so you'll usually find when teams are pushing and trying to kill a tower, you're going to get team battles around there and everything like that. So that opens up a whole bunch of discussion for strategies and where team battles exist and for what, which we're not going to get into because that's ridiculous. Let's just stick to the map. So there's your towers, there's your barracks, there's your ancients, main part of the game. So let's go ahead, next part, go into the lanes. I will actually leave the towers open so that you can see the lanes. Okay, so there are 3 lanes which connect basically the towers and the 2 sides together. Okay, so going into this one first right here, this is what is known as the mid lane because, well, it's in the middle of the map, cleverly named. Okay, so mid lane, the least confusing of the lane because it's the mid lane, whatever. So these next 2 are named basically based off of, they're named top and bottom. This is the top lane because it's on the top side of the map, and this is on the bottom lane because it is on the bottom side of the map. Now I might think, well, this is also on the right side of the map, and that is also on the left side of the map. Shades, why aren't they named the right lane and the left lane? Or maybe the top left lane and the bottom right lane? It's too long, and left and right probably actually would have been shorter than bottom, but top is short. I don't know. Someone named them, we stuck with it, we went through it, deal with it. I mess it up. I call it left lane sometimes because we're on the left over here, and I'm like, this is the left lane. I actually sometimes call bottom lane when this is the top because this is the bottom when you're on dire side. Anyways, all I'm doing is confusing you guys. Middle lane, top lane, bottom lane. This is still bottom lane. This is top lane. Okay, there you go. So these are your 3 lanes. What lanings mean is basically lanes are defined because there are nice little paths that you can walk all the way up here and all the way around here, but this is also where your creeps spawn. Okay, so creeps, I thought this was a hero game. There are also creeps, which are non-player characters. There are actually 3 types of creeps. Yeah, I want to say 3 types of creeps. We'll go 3 types of creeps. There's your laning creeps, there's your jungle creeps, and then there's your big man Roshan creep. Okay, let's go with laning creeps first because that is what we were talking about, is lanes. So we go back into here. So in the lanes, basically on each side will spawn creeps at regular intervals. Okay, creeps spawn right by your barracks. Alright, corresponding again to melee and ranged barracks, how we talked about before, they will spawn melee and ranged creeps. Aha! Okay, so you'll spawn 4 melee creeps and 1 ranged creep for a total of 5 creeps. Okay, they'll spawn here and they will walk this lane as great faithful AI do, following their waypoints and try to just push into the top lane. Now obviously, consequentially I should say, the other opposing side will be spawning creeps at the same regular intervals on their opposing side. So as you can imagine, the creeps here spawn, the creeps here spawn, they walk and they meet about in the center, which is right about here. Okay, whether or not there is a hero around, those creeps are going to battle it out. They really do not like each other, and they are trying to also kill the Ancient as well. They can help you kill the Ancient, they can help you kill towers, use them to your advantage. Creeps are your best friends, keep them alive, unless you're trying to deny them, in which case you're not, you're just killing your own creeps. It is advantageous, we'll get into that later, but creeps are your friends, okay? So they're going to fight with you, whether you like it or not, or whether you're there or not, and they're going to be battling it out, having their own little battles, even if everyone's down over here. So they'll be pushing. Also know that the tower will hit the creeps, so if the creeps are like, yeah, we win, the radiant side, they win, they beat the dire side, then we're going to push, I want to take this tower's going to be like, nah, we're going to kill you, and then the next wave of creeps from the dire side is going to kill them, and then they're going to push down to this tower, and it's just an everlasting battle of creep on creep massacre. Yes, it's a sad state of affairs, this game. Anyways, going back into this. So, same thing in mid lane, creep spawn, meet here, creep spawn, meet here, and push, okay? This will also be where your heroes go in the beginning, which is usually called the laning phase, to go into lanes. Because when you're weak, actually I'll go back to here. When you're weak, not so much weak I guess, but when you're low levels, you're weak, you're on the same weakness level that everyone else, or the other team, depending on, certain characters bloom earlier. Anyway, so you first start the game, you're going to the laning phase, so that you can go ahead and, play with your creeps. Not play with your creeps, that sounds horrible. You can go ahead and lane with your creeps, use them to, if you kill opposing team creeps, you get money. Also, if you're around as opposing teams creeps die, that's how you get experience, just like in other RPG games. So those NPC dies, you get experience, and that's how you start in the beginning of the game, building up all of your experience, gold, and all that stuff to move on to the next start of the game. Now, typically, remember, we have 5 people per game on each team, 5 people per team, 10 people per game, and we have 3 lanes. So for Radiant side, the 5, how do we typically split up the players? Well, what is the most common? There are different ways that you can assign people to your lanes, and we'll go into that strategy way later. But typically, you'll see it, and when you're first trying to play games, you're gonna have one person mid. Okay, you have one person mid. They're gonna go here, and the other team will most likely do one person mid. Most always do one person mid, and you'll have a one-on-one battle here in mid lane. You're gonna have 2 people go on the side lanes. Okay, side lanes, whether it's top or bottom, you'll have 2 people each. Okay, and that will be your 5-person assortment, and you'll most likely have that from the other team. Okay, so that's your basic play: 1 person mid, 2 people in the side lanes, and those are your lanes. Okay, so if people are telling you, "Oh, I'm gonna go mid lane," well, you know where they're going. If people are telling you, "Oh, I'm going bottom lane," or "I'm going top lane," now you know where they're going. Now, there are different names for the lanes, which we'll go into real quick. Don't know why I switched back here, because we're just going to go right into it. There is something that's called the safe lane. Now, the safe lane is side dependent, meaning the safe lane for the Radiant side is not the same as the safe lane for the Dire side, okay? So safe lane, as I was kind of highlighting, the safe lane for the Radiant side, which is the Radiant, is down here, which is this bottom lane. Safe because it's, well, you feel safe in it. Usually, we'll go into warding and all that stuff later, but usually, you have vision. This is your own jungle. You're on your own side of the river and everything like that. So it's usually a lot safer if you're pushing out and everything like that to the first tier tower. You're really close to your own side. Same thing on the Dire side, really close. Even if you're pushing out this tower, you're right here on the river. You feel a lot safer on your own side and everything. Consequently, we'll just call it the off lane. Could call it the unsafe lane. No one calls it that. Just call it the off lane. The off lane is the not safe lane. Is different for each side as well. It's just the opposite of the safe lane. So for Radiant side, this will be the off lane. Basically, you don't feel too safe because there is a point where if you're pushing in towards this tower, here's the Dire side. They can sneak in behind you and hit you off. Consequently, this is the off lane for the Dire side, because if you're pushing into this Radiant first tier tower, there is the Radiant jungle right here, which they can push in and potentially gank you. So, safe lane Radiant, safe lane Dire, off lane Radiant, off lane Dire, mid lane. Mid lane is the easiest, because whatever, it's the mid lane. So, that is the laning. Now, let's continue on. So the next thing we'll be going into, we'll go ahead and take off towers for now. Actually, we'll leave the towers just for points of interest, landmarks, basically, so you can know where the shops are. So, now, you're a hero in this great, beautiful world. At least it's one map, so you don't have to go too crazy and be like, oh my gosh, there's 3 maps that I have to know where all these towers are and everything like that. You'll figure it out. It's one map. You can find this map easily on, just search Dota 2 maps, and you'll find a map like this. You can look at the top-down view map. The map you'll get the hang of. We'll show it to you once we get into game and everything. So, that's your towers, that's your lanes. Now we're going to shops. Okay, so your hero, You're leveling up in your lanes by killing creeps and not dying, and hopefully killing other opposing team heroes, and you're leveling up and everything's fine. Now you also have this money that you've been getting. You also get money over time. So even if you're not killing creeps, getting the last hits on creeps or killing heroes, you still will be incrementally getting money assigned to you. So it's time to buy some items. Where the heck do I go to buy items? So let's go back to this map. So when you spawn in your Radiant Fountain, there's a shop, or the Dire Fountain, there's a shop immediately associated with where you spawn. Okay. Consequentially, also the fountain, little known fact, is where you can go to regain health and mana. If you're low, you can run all the way back to your fountain and you'll regain health and mana at a very good rate, and then go back out to the field of battle. This is also where the shop is as well for both opposing sides. Okay. Here you can buy all of the basic items. The fountain shop is where you get a lot of items, a lot of the basic items. There are a few things that you can't get here, which you will have to go to the other shops. We'll talk about those later. But it's where you get mainly get all of your items. It is where you will also get every recipe. Okay, so certain items contain a recipe as a final option to build the item. So when you're buying an item, some items you just buy straight out. Like we'll say I don't know, you want some slippers. It's part of an item. You want some slippers, you just buy slippers, you get slippers, easy transaction. Now, sometimes items are built upon smaller items, and you can make a bigger, more powerful item out of it that usually combines the attributes of the items that build into it. Okay, think of it like crafting almost. So, say. And then those items, typically the bigger items that require components to build it, not all of them, but some of them, a lot of them require a recipe. Okay, and those recipes can only be bought in the fountain shops. So let's say I'm gonna make up an item. It's not too much of an item, but you need 2 slippers and you need a recipe. Okay, and it makes this glorified slipper of agility, right? So you buy your slipper, basic item, get it. Right-click it, boom. Buy your second slipper, boom. Go back to the fountain shop, right-click the recipe. You buy the recipe from the fountain shop, and you don't have to do any like crazy crafting or whatever. You just buy those 3 components, have them in your inventory, and they will formulate and combine into the glorious radiant slippers of agility or whatever. So that's your intro into buying, and again, we'll go into that when we get in game. But recipes and your main items, basic items that you get in here. Also note that if you are towards the end of the game, the Dire Fountain Shop isn't only associated to Dire people. Dire Radiant heroes can buy things out of the Dire shop, and Dire heroes can buy things out of the Radiant shop. Now obviously if you go into the fountain has a huge defense mechanism and will shoot you with lasers and pretty much kill you outright. But you can go to the side. Let's go ahead and you can go to the side of the shop. So if you go right in this circle right here, you're gonna get shot, you're gonna die, you're gonna be on a happy camper. However, if you go onto the side, like say right up here, you can still be within the range of the shop. You can get your item, be on your way if you're a little radiant, and you can also make fun of the Dire for not finding you. That's usually typically if you're pushed inside the base or whatever. You don't have to worry about that too much. The cases that happens is not very many, but just so you know. Now let's go into the secret shops. So the secret shops there's 2 secret shops located, one on the Radiant side, one on the Dire side. Okay, there's pretty much in the middle of the map, but as you can tell, this is on the Radiant side, so it's a little safer for the Radiant. This is on the Dire side, so it's a little safer for the Dire. Okay, so if you go, basically you'll look for on the Radiant side, if you go into the off lane or the top lane and the mid lane, and you walk up these little path, there you go. Opposite, off on the Dire side, off lane, mid lane, walk up the little path right through here, and there you get to the secret shop. Okay, we'll go ahead and zoom in on them and go back over to here. So that's the little guy, that's the shopkeeper. So the secret shop, what's so important about the secret shop? The secret shop has certain items that you cannot buy at any other shop. Okay, there's a couple instances of things that you can buy on side shops, which we'll get into next, that you can also buy on the secret shop. But secret shop, for the most part, it's not really a secret. You have to go, certain items you can only buy at the secret shop, so it makes you leave your base and all that stuff and everything like that. So if you're trying to build an item and it's asking for a component and you can't for the life of you find it in the fountain shop, probably a secret shop item. If you hover over the item as well, a tooltip will come up and tell you and let you know that it's a secret shop only item. So go to your secret shops, depending on what side you are on, get your item. Now the last two stores are the side shops, okay? And think of these as extensions of the fountain shop as combined with the extensions of the secret shop. The side shops have a limited subsection of items from the fountain shop, as well as, I currently think it's only 2 items subsection from the secret shop, okay? And the 2 items that the Radiant side shop has, not the Radiant, that the side shops have that are also in the secret shop is the Ring of Health and it's the component to make arcane boots, which is basically, it's a point booster, it's a mana booster, and the Ring of Health. Glad I knew that one. Okay, so these are your side shops, subsets of both ones. It's actually very nice if you're going the top lane. Instead of like going all the way back to the fountain shop, you could go right here to the side shop and get an item and still remain in your lane. Same thing for the Radiant side. Get your side shop and you can still remain in your lane. Now remember, all the shops can be used by all heroes. It is not side specific, okay, or team specific. So just as a Dire can use the side shop, so can, if the Radiant, if they're pushing out right here, they can go into the side shop as well. So there you go. Okay, and just because we're throwing a bunch of information at you, something to know: TPs, you can buy TPs at the side shop and at the fountain shops, but you cannot buy TPs, teleportation scrolls, at the secret shops. So make sure you have those so you can be teleporting back and forth. We'll get into really what those do later. Don't have to worry about that for right now. The last thing for the map phase before we get on out of here, I know you guys are sick of looking at this map, are the runes. We are not going to get into a lot of talk about runes. I really just want you guys to know where they are for introduction, because there is a lot more. I can talk a lot about the runes. So we're just gonna let you know basically where the runes are. Now the runes, basically what a rune is they will spawn here. They will spawn on 2-minute intervals, and they give you boosts. Okay, you'll see them as we go in the gameplay and everything like that. But again, not going to get too much into them, but just note that there are 2 runes that spawn, and they can spawn either up here or either down here. So there's not always guaranteed to be one there, so just keep that in mind. And that is it for the map. So let's go ahead and move on, since it is time. Yes, let's do that. Okay. All right, so let's go into the next part. So we know about the map. We've gotten a little bit about items, just a little into it. The next main thing to notice about Dota 2 is heroes. Yes, so this is the main, what do I call it? Learning difficulty, okay, as we start up Dota 2. This is the main, oh my gosh, I lost the word. I'm killing myself right here. This is the biggest learning curve. There we go. The biggest learning curve when first coming into Dota 2, because, like I said, there's over 90 heroes that are available to play, and it can be very, very intimidating trying to know all of the heroes and everything. So we're going to do a little discussion of roles. Okay, so each hero has a role that they fulfill. Okay, think of it like a class in an RPG system. If you ever play like an RPG, okay, role-playing game. So you have your hero, and they can either be like, say, like a healer, a tank, or a DPSer. Okay, so those are the rules of a typical MMORPG. That's the trilogy and everything like that. There's different rules that are involved in Dota 2, and there are actually a number of them. And you can go ahead and check them out. If you go to Dota 2 Wiki, which I highly suggest if you're getting into the game and you need more information. Go to Dota 2 Wiki, very, very good, and look up roles. Just type that in the search box and you'll see a whole long list. I'm not going to tell you every role right now because it would take up way too much time and it'd be ridiculous, but I am going to talk about the main 3 roles. What I consider the main 3 roles are to be, don't take my word for it, other people have other ideas, but these I feel are the main 3 roles to help you get introduced into the game. And they are carry, support, and then I have down here, yes, ganker, initiator. Okay, mainly initiator, initiator, tank. Ganker I'm going to put in the carry side. So go those 3 again: carry, support, initiator, tank. Okay, those are, I feel, the main 3 roles for a Dota 2 hero, or what a Dota 2 hero fits into one of those main 3 roles. Okay, so what the heck is a carry, support? Maybe you know what a support is, or initiator, tank. Maybe you know what a tank is, and you can probably figure out what initiator is from initiator. But what on earth should this is a carry? Well, let me tell you. So carry is basically, think of it as DPS. So your carry is your main damage dealer for your teams. Now this is, or basically, and as the name suggests, implies, is they're going to carry your team to victory at the end. Now typically carries, depending, are kind of weak in the beginning, and that's where support will come in. We'll get to that. But they need, the most important thing to know about a carry is that they need farm, meaning they need money. So they need to get lots of money because they are item dependent. So they need that money to buy items to increase their survivability, increase the damage they do, pretty much increase their effectiveness. Okay, so a carry who has a lot more gold and a lot more items is going to be better than a carry that hasn't got a lot of farm, hasn't got a lot of money, hasn't got a lot of items. Okay, so for a carry to really, really be effective, it needs farm, it needs money, and it needs those items. Okay, so it's very, very item dependent. Now your carry also, as you can think of, is basically, it's the hero obviously that's going to be killing the most, getting the last hits. The hero kills the most because it does the most amount of damage, and it's the one running in there carrying the team to victory. So it's usually the obvious limelight hero, because you have this huge kill to death ratio. If you're a good carry, if you carried your team well and everything like that, you have maybe 14-2 kills at the end of the game, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, and everyone's always on the opposing team, they're always dying to you, and they're like, I hate this hero, or like, I hate this guy, he's going crazy, blah blah blah, and you become infamous, you become famous, or whatever like that. So it's the easiest one to see, just based on the scoreboard and based on people reacting to you, of being the most important character, of being the most famed or known character. So that's why it's typically picked by beginning players, because or like, I don't want to say that, but it's typically picked by characters because, hey, everyone wants to be a carry. They want that name known. They want to be feared. They want to have a top kill to death ratio because somehow that matters when you're just trying to kill an ancient. Hey, if you go 0-18 and the opposing team ancient dies, doesn't matter what kill to death ratio you have, you still win. So we'll go into that later, but that is typically why carries are picked. There's a lot of things into it, but you should pick a carry because your team needs a carry. Now, not everyone can be a carry, and you can't have a whole team of carries. We can go into that later, but you can't have a whole team of carries because that'd be ridiculous. So it's just one, it's part of the team. Remember, every team is going to have a good makeup of the 3 trifecta that I have, as well as all of the roles together. Okay, so if you have a full team of carries, you're not going to do good, and I can tell you why about that when we actually go into carries and learning about carries, but not this episode. Stay tuned next week. Actually, it might not be next week, but we'll eventually get there. Next one, support. Support. What is a support? So support is, you can think of it as babysitters of carries. Remember how I told you carries are kind of weak in the beginning, typically? Well, that's where supports come in. So supports, think of them as they're typically intelligence heroes. So you can think of them as having, nuking damage. They have support abilities, and they rely not so much on items, but they rely more on their abilities. So as you level, they're not so much level dependent either, but as you level and you get your abilities, they offer a lot of support type things to help your carry. So support babysit your carries in the beginning, because you can they can do things like they can offer heals to heal your carry, to keep them in the lane, to keep them going, to keep them farming and everything like that, and not dying, which is important. They can also refill mana, which allows you to keep casting spells. They can provide disables to either get you out of a situation or get that awesome perfect stun off, so that Juggernaut can get that Blade Fury off and totally annihilate people. If you have no idea what I just said there, don't even worry. But disables, stuns, all that stuff always help a team, as well as nuking, providing that quick early damage early in the game, as well as providing vision, which gives you map control and it can allow you to position. So supports are the most important players in the game. Okay, so everyone thinks it's carries. No, carries are important, definitely. Every role is important in Dota 2. I feel in my heart, I don't actually play support. I do play support too, but for my team, I don't really play support. I have way better teammates. Gosh, I have way better teammates who play support, and they play it very, very well, much better than I do. And I know every game is because of them. So supports, you'll find you play supports. They're usually the unsung heroes, because they can very easily go unnoticed. But when you're winning, you're really winning because you have good supports and everything. So supports, I also recommend this usually as if you're kind of a person to get associated in the game and you want to learn a hero and you want to learn a role. What's the easiest one? Supports. It's, I feel, the most forgiving, but it also has the most, and you can take it on pretty easily, but it can also, it has a lot of depth, meaning you can take a support, you can learn it a lot, and you can, like 10 years down the line, 10 years, you can, like when you start becoming like the pro level status, become a much, much better support. Be like, man, I was a horrible support in the beginning. But it's a lot more forgiving as far as if you're dying or if you're not getting farm and all that stuff in the beginning. So supports, there you go. Babysitters of the carries, babysitters of the teams, providing disables and all that stuff. Last thing is the initiator and tanks. Think of these as your, not the DPS, the damage dealers, but the damage absorbers, okay? Now, initiator and tanks is kind of two different roles. I'm going to lump them up into one. Don't get too confused. Not every initiator is a tank. There are some great initiators that are not tanky at all and don't want to be in that fight. They want to initiate that fight and then get out. And there are also, not every tank is an initiator. But for the ease of this broadcast, we'll just go into it. So initiators, as you can imagine, initiate team fight. They have abilities or health, enough health to safely initiate or start a team attack, and can put their team in the best advantage to either maybe get off like this mass disable, and then the rest of the team comes in and just mops up and everything like that. So that's initiator. And the tanks, obviously, as you can know, they're the ones absorbing all the damage, so they'll probably maybe initiate and then just stay in the fight, and they'll be like, everyone focus on me, I'm gonna take the damage while my supports are disabling you and my carry is going behind you and just wrecking havoc and killing you. And yeah, you'll get me, everyone wants to attack Pudge because I look scary and everything, but you're never gonna kill me anyways. So yeah, that's it. So initiators and tanks, durable, can take a lot of damage, can initiate team fights for the team. And as far as farming level, medium farm. If you're looking at farming, your carriers obviously need all the farm, the gold, and the items. Tanks, initiators are kind of after that, which will need, they're a little item dependent. Items, not so much item dependent, but items will help them initiate better and everything. And then as well as, give them more health to tank more. And then supports don't need a whole lot of farm. Obviously if they get farm, they can get more support items and provide even more support, but they could already by themselves as support, they can be doing enough. So there we go. So there are your roles. All right, so carry, support, initiator, tank. Right now, that's basically off your heroes. But let's go into the game right now, get away from my face, and we can take a look. So actually, let's go into here. So when you first start the game, you're going to go into this Today tab up at the top, all right? And I'll tell you all these little cool things. Bristleback's out. There's a hero from Dota. Really, really cool. If you go over here to the Learn tab, Valve has, put in this awesome ability that you can look at all of the heroes in-game so you can get a feel for them. what highly recommend this to anyone. At least kind of maybe just go over like the heroes. It might take a while to go through every hero and everything like that, and still be intimidating looking at all these heroes and be like, I have to know every one of these. Don't worry, eventually you'll get there through trials and tribulations, or through successes as well. So you can click on a hero here. Click on here, it'll tell you Earthshaker. This is what Earthshaker is. It'll kind of tell you what he looks like so you can recognize him in game. It'll give you, so each character has 4 skills. Some of them are passive, some of them are active. It's either active or passive. And you can get, like, it'll give like a brief synopsis of what they are, as well as tell you, you know, kind of their starting stats and everything like that. Base movement speed, base attack, base armor and all that. It'll give you a nice little bio if you're into that lore and everything like that. And then down here, the abilities, it'll take these abilities from here, the little synopsis, and it has also a little video as well as some more in-depth knowledge to give you an in-depth view of what the ability actually does. Okay, so like Fisher, you can tell you the mana cost, give you the cooldown, tell me how much damage, tell you exactly what it does. It does a stun, and then you can play this nice little video, which will show you it in action, which is very, very helpful. It is much, much easier to see it before it's actually hitting you, and you're like, oh, that's what that does, and the next thing you know, you're dead. So that's Fisher. So he slams down this rock thing, which stuns enemies nearby. It also makes it so that they can't walk through it. Okay, so that's Fisher. So I'm not going to go into every character and every skill because that would be ridiculous. But this is for you guys. This is, consider it your homework, as you can go in through here. And it also separates them by strength, agility, and intelligence. Okay, we can get into that more. But basically, strength heroes, they're going to have real quick. Strength heroes are going to have more hit points, which means they're going to have more health. So these are really your tanky type characters in here. Strength carries. Okay, they're also, you know, strength heroes aren't all tanks. They're all carries. Strength carriers are also strength supports, but typically they're going to have more health because of strength. Agility gives you attack speed, and it also gives you armor. So attack speed also equates to more damage. So you can tell that your carries, your damage dealers, are mainly going to be agilities. Now, there are strength carries and there are intelligence carries, but there are a lot of agility carries because naturally that is what it's going to be. There are also gankers here and stuff like that. So, and then intelligence gives you more mana and gives you more mana regen. So this is where a lot of your supports are going to be. Again, there can be strength supports, and then, you know, agility supports, but mainly your supports are going to be intelligence, just because they're nukers as well, gankers as well, early on gankers and stuff like that. You can also use here, this will list out all of the roles. So you can see right here, here's all the roles. Again, I just did carry. There's lane support and support. We'll get into that, but I just lumped them into support for now. And then you have your initiator and durable calling tank. Okay, so you can filter by then. Like, say you want to look at carries if you're starting. You can go ahead and look at all the carries, and this will give you all the carries. So disablers, this might not actually work. Doesn't look like it works. Okay, so anyways, can you like hit escape? I should have tested this. Nope, didn't do it. So anyways, so this doesn't actually work, but don't worry, that's fine. You can now just go through every character. So we've gone over our roles, we've gone over our heroes, and we are getting towards the end of the time for this broadcast. So before we end, for the last about 10 minutes, where do we start? So we have all of this knowledge. We have the map knowledge. We have a beginner basic knowledge of heroes. How do I start a game? You know, this is a lot. This seems like a lot. Not a lot. So what I typically you know, tell my friends who are starting the game is pick one hero, start with that one hero, and then play that one hero over and over and over and over again, and you will get used to that hero. You'll begin seeing like different patterns and stuff like that, and learning things like that. It's you know, a lot of Dota 2, the fastest way to learn is by playing. I mean, obviously with anything, it's just by doing, playing a hero, playing a different hero. You know, I sometimes, you know, depending on the person, I'll say play every hero, and then you can kind of get a general gist for what they do. But really to focus and to probably make your game the easiest, you know, easiest way to kind of ease into something is to pick one hero and then play that hero every time until you get used to him. You get a feel for him, you get a feel for the map, you get a feel for the game, you get a feel for other heroes, and then start switching and moving on to other heroes and everything like that. So Where to start? Let's start with one hero. And as I said before, I'm going to suggest a support type hero because I feel support is the easiest way to kind of get into the game. Again, it is kind of the more important, I feel, the more important part, but it is I also feel the more forgiving role in this game. So I'm going to go over that or for one hero, and the hero I'm going to recommend is Izalar, which is right here, which is Keeper of the Light. Okay, Keeper of the Light. So you can go through here, you can look at all of his abilities and everything like that. And we'll go into that as probably in the next episode, going to Keeper of the Light. But I'm going to recommend him. He's a nuker support, lane support. The pros use him, even end game. So he is, again, as I said, one of those supports that you can kind of use early on in the beginning. But he has a lot of depth, so you can take him and ride him and learn him out for a long, long time. Get really good at him, and all of a sudden now you're good at a pro type hero. Okay, so Keeper of the Light. Let's go back into here. Now to start, there are many different ways to start. I'm going to go over two of them. The first one is if you're not new to this game, or even if you're new to this game and you just want to throw yourself, you're like, just throw me into the mix, get me in there, I just want to do it. I commend you for it. That's crazy probably for your first match, but throw yourself to the wolves. You can go to find a match. This is how you typically find public matches. You hit find a match. It'll put you in a queue after a while. Once you get to the top of the queue, your match will start and everything like that. You can cancel the search as well. I'm also going to go over the matchmaking settings because these are important. If you select those, you can select different game modes, which will allow you to play different types of games. So it's the same map, it's the same type of game, but basically all pick, as its name implies, is that you can pick every hero, and all heroes are open for everyone to pick. Okay, so this is typically what you should play as a beginner type character, because then you can make sure that you pick a Izalar and that Izalar is there. Single draft mode, basically what this means is you're going to be given 3 characters to pick from: an intelligence character, an agility character, and a strength character. And you can pick from those 3. Every player will be given 3 options, different 3 options, and you pick based on what you want. Save that till later. Captain's mode, definitely save this till later. Captain's mode, you have a captain. There's bans, there's picks. I'm not going to go too much into it. It's how the pros play. It's also how I like to play too. There's good strategy into it. Random draft. Random draft basically is a shared pool of 20 random heroes. So out of the all pick heroes, 20 of those will be displayed, and people will go back and forth to pick. Everyone will pick out of the same 20 heroes. Least played, if you're a new person, every hero you have is the least played, which is basically the same as all pick. But as you start playing heroes, least played only offers heroes that you have played the least. So, and then all random, don't really recommend that. Don't recommend that at all for new players, because basically what that means is everyone is going to random. Everyone's going to random a character, so all random, and you don't know what character you're going to get. It is kind of great if you just want to throw yourself into the mix and start playing all the characters or random characters as much as you can. Don't recommend it though. Choose all pick, save settings, find match. It'll find you an all pick game. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. I do captain's mode random draft, but that's just me. The next thing to do, if you want a little easier time getting into the game, is to practice with bots. Okay, what this will do is it'll create a single player type game, basically only you, but it will fill it with bots. Don't do passive because they won't move anywhere. Do easy, medium, and hard. Start off with easy, and you can start getting a feel for the game. You can choose your team as well, and do like a random team and stuff like that. So start game. That's what we're actually going to do for this. So for our last 6 minutes, we're going to go into the game, kind of go over, not really going to play much of the game. Now, games do last anywhere from, typical game lasts anywhere from 40 to 60 minutes. Yeah, 40 to 60 minutes. There are games that last only 20 minutes if people are pushing and it's a really quick game. And there are a lot of games that end at 30 minutes too. So anywhere 30 to 60 minute games, but you'll see a lot of games going past the 40-minute mark and up to the 60-minute mark and everything like that before they're decided. So not going to play that whole game obviously in this last 6 minutes, but just to get you guys started into what it's like. So practice with bots. I'm going to go ahead with hard bots. That's fine. We'll do easy bots. Radiant, I'm not going to be playing much anyway. So start the game. loads you in, and off we go. First Dota 2 experience. I'm excited. I hope you're excited, because we're about to have some fun. So, as we start loading, again, we're going to be playing our hero of choice. First hero to pick is going to be the Keeper of the Light, or Izalar, okay?
Well, good evening.
Getting in here, so I'll pick, as you can see, you can flip through all of the heroes. You can also hit this grid button in the bottom, and you can very easily see a grid button so that you can pick your hero. I typically do this. It's alphabetical order, so he's Keeper of the Light. So we're going to go ahead and go over to the K's, which is F, J, H, I, J, K, J, K. Keeper of the Light right here, okay? So we can put favorite hero if you want. I haven't done that much, but Keeper of the Light. Make sure he's selected in this nice rectangular border. It will let you know what type of character he is right here. You can also take a look at his abilities, and then you hit pick Keeper of the Light. This is just for, you know, if you're getting items, stuff like that. And then afterwards, you'll just hit play, and you'll be going into Keeper of the Light. Okay, so now we spawn. Now we spawn on the Radiant side. So as you can see, here's the map. This is the mini map right here. It's basically the same map that I showed you earlier today.
Places everywhere.
And we're going to start out in our fountain right here. So this is the fountain. Here's the fountain shop.
By your leave.
And here is where you can now, there are a couple ways to buy. You can click on the guy, left click, and it'll open up your shop. You can also, if you want, right clicking to move. You can also hit the shop in the bottom right hand corner, and that will open up the shop too. Now notice that this shop button, if I leave the vicinity of this shop, will gray out. So now I can't buy any. If I buy something, I won't get it immediately. We'll go into that shortly. So actually the first thing I want to go into is, as we go into here, is when you're starting your character, hit him and then assign him to a control group. And basically what that means by default, if you hit control 1, that will assign him to control group 1.
30 seconds.
So let's say you're over here and you're looking, you know, you can left click on the mini map and move around and everything like that. You can also move around by hitting the edges of the screen. But let's say we're going down here and something's happening and we want to quickly revert back to our hero's view. If you double tap 1 for your control group 1, it'll bring you back to your hero, because that's where you assigned it to, is to control group 1. So, just something to know. So if you're going over here, you want to get back to your character and all that stuff. And you'll notice people doing that a lot.
And they're off.
The next thing to notice is you go here, you buy something. If you're in range of the shop, and you buy something, it goes straight into your inventory. This is your inventory space right here. If you are not in range of the shop, you can still buy items. You do not have to be in range of a shop to buy item, so that can be very, very advantageous if you want to make sure that you use your gold, because if you die, you lose gold. You lose unreliable gold. We'll go into that later, but you'll lose gold. So you can go ahead and buy items to make sure. So if you're not in range of the shop, you can buy items still. So you can buy these items. Let's say I'll just buy those 2 items. Now, if you're not in range of the shop, though, they do not readily go into your inventory, and they instead go into your stash. Okay, your stash can only be retrieved from going back to the fountain, or your team's fountain, or actually as well as the opposing fountain. But either one of the fountains is easiest to go to your own fountain. Okay, and then from here, once you get to your fountain, this button will highlight. You can hit it. It will transfer your items to your inventory. Now, note that you only have 6 inventory slots. So if you buy more than your inventory can allow, it will go into your stash, and then you can actually switch stuff from your stash into your inventory by dragging and dropping and all that stuff. So again, you will usually combine items as you go, and it will give you enough inventory slots. You'll also be selling stuff. We'll go into that later, but too much for right now. So you can also sell items, right click, sell. Also, if you left click an item in a shop, it will put it into this display, which, like, if you hit an item that required, like if you go into upgrades, typically these are the combination ones. It will list out all the sub items. So if you right click an item though, that will actually buy it. I don't have enough gold for that, so you can see that tells me I don't have enough gold. But right click to buy, left click to get information on.
My quest
now
continues.
Here, if you're typically new or whatever, kind of look at the lanes. So you can see there's 2 people in this lane, 1 in the mid lane, and 1 in this off lane, right? Or the top lane, okay? Now remember we talked, there's 2 people typically go in the off lane, one person in the mid lane. So for me, I'm going to go into this lane because it only has one person, and this is where I should go. To level up, as you can see, you're already level 1, you need to choose a spell. Just left click, and it'll allow you to choose any of these abilities. We'll go into more of Coddle now, but for right now I'm just going to choose this Illuminate ability.
What's that you say?
Like so, okay? Now let me actually go up into the other shops real quick. So I'm just going to go into the left side. So here was the Fountain Shop. I'm going up into the Radiant side Secret Shop. So as you can see, if you click here, this will list all the secret items that are only sold in the Secret Shop, except for 2 items, which is the Ring of Health and the Energy Booster, not the Mana Booster, I'm sorry, the Energy Booster, okay? Those you can also buy on the side shops, which we'll get to next, okay? Now, if you do go in range of this Secret Shop and you click your shop button, you know, it'll list everything that you can see. So again, click on the shopkeeper, or click on the shop button. Next thing to note is the side shops. So typically the side shop is more of the dire side shop because, as you can see, with the dire pushing us back right now to our tower, if I were to go through these heroes up to the shop, they would just kill me and all of that good jazz. So we'll typically push forward, as we will do here shortly. I'm just going to use my abilities to fire some rounds to get this push up. So here's our creeps fighting and everything like that. And then we're just going to go ahead
The light shines
and get a kill right here.
That's a first
That'll be
class.
nice. Okay. So our creeps are fighting and pushing and all that good stuff. Now here is the side shop. Go to the side shop, same thing. It shows a subset of items available from the Fountain Shop, as well as the 2 items from the Secret Shop, which is the Energy Booster and the Ring of Health. Okay, but it also has other stuff. So know what's in the side shop, what you can get. You can also, like for instance, you can get your boots here. So you can buy your boots. You can buy them either from here or right from here. And then boom, boots are in your inventory, not in your stash. And there you go. You're now quicker. So those are the shops. On the opposite side, here's the Dire side shop, or the Dire Secret Shop, and then the Radiant side shop down here. And then as we go in, let's just use the middle lane, for instance. So here is the Ancient for the Radiant side. The 2 defending towers for the Ancient. Moving up, we'll go into the middle racks, melee racks, and ranged barracks. The tier 3 tower, tier 2 tower in the mid lane, and tier 1 tower. So as you can note, because the tier 1 tower has not been destroyed, there is no health bar. This cannot be killed right now, but the tier 1 tower does have a health bar. It can be killed. Same thing on the Dire side. This one's taking damage right now, so it's dying. Tier 1 tower, when that dies, the tier 2 tower will open up. The tier 3 tower will open up, and then the barracks will open up, and you can kill the barracks. Then you can kill the tier 4 towers, which protect the Ancient. Then you kill this Ancient. This would win us the game right now. And then here is the Fountain for the Dire side. So that is the map, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the forest and everything like that. There are different lanes. You don't have to just go through your lanes. You can't obviously go in between in the jungle and everything like that. But the creeps only go through the lanes and everything like that. And then you play your hero, move around, throw some abilities down, try not to die, try to kill the enemy heroes, learn, play Dota, get better, have fun initially. So that is going to do it for us today. Thank you for watching an introduction to Dota. This has been Fundie Tuesday, Fundamental Tuesdays, Basic Tuesdays. Next week we'll actually probably most likely get into the basics of playing, starting off with the Zalor and leveling up, you know, going into the laning phases, the different phases of the game and all of that stuff, and actually, you know, playing your hero and playing it out. So probably won't play a full game, but I'll structure it so that we can start getting and leading up into the more true fundamentals and basics of this game, getting past, you know, the introduction phase and everything like that. So hope you guys enjoyed. I know there was a lot of information coming at you. Again, take it with what you can. Go to Dota 2 Wiki to find out more information. The easiest thing, best way to get into this game is play the game. Play, and you will pick things up as you go. Also, watch my Learn by Playing videos. Feel free to ask questions in the chat room if you're not understanding something that we're doing. I'll go ahead and let you know, so that way you can learn vicariously through me and my teammates playing and everything like that, and get better and have fun. So thank you for watching. This is Shades signing out. Hope you guys enjoyed the introduction to Dota 2. Stay safe, have fun, play Dota.